Hi, and welcome to the Kelly Kitley podcast, America's Social Worker Unfiltered, where every week we have hopeful, honest, and deeply human conversations with change makers. And today I am so excited to have Kevin Boehm on. He is the co-CEO and co-founder of Boka Restaurant Group. He is the author of Bottomless Cup, which was just released in November. He is 40 restaurants deep in 30 years, and he is one of the world's foremost hospitality visionaries. And the accolades go on and on and on. And I heard about you through the grapevine and didn't know your story. And as soon as I heard about Bottomless Cup, this is where my world of growing up in the restaurant and bar business and mental health were a crossroads. And I said, I got to have him on. And so thank you so much for
Oh
saying
no,
yes.
my pleasure. And yes, that intersection of hospitality and mental health, yeah, definitely collides in the book.
Substance
My
abuse.
whole
I
life,
mean,
all of
all
it.
of it, all of
Yeah.
it. Um, but I also just want to let listeners know because have read my book and followed my journey. When we were initially scheduled, my dad had ended up in the hospital due to a stroke, and I hadn't talked to him in a few years. And all of my siblings and I and my mom, my dad's ex-wife, were all at his bedside and had an opportunity to say goodbye to him. And then yesterday we had a big celebration of life for him. And Kevin, reading your book during this time just brought so much understanding about my own father and his desire and drive and love for relationships in the restaurant business and the excitement that comes with that and also the stress. And so I just want to dive in. You told your mom at 10 years old you wanted to open a restaurant, and you were scrappy as hell in Springfield by organizing keg parties in the woods and selling solo cups. And I know that's not where it all began, but that little blue house in
Yeah.
Springfield is a lot of the
Limitation,
story.
limitation breeds creativity.
Mm,
And so I think in a lot of ways I was really fortunate to not have a lot. And had a pretty good understanding that the life that my parents led was not the life that I wanted to lead.
mhm.
And so it led me to do a lot of really creative things. And I was a bona fide hustler from from the time I got made fun of because my mom cut my hair. I turned into a bona fide hustler because I was like, okay, no more chili bowl haircuts. And I want to have, slightly nicer clothes. And this is what I want to do. And how am I going to get there? And so I became pretty entrepreneurial at a young age. And my first business was selling tomatoes. I actually just got a message from my next door neighbor's daughter that I grew up with. She was older than me. She was probably 18 when I was like 5 or 6. And she goes, I remember buying tomatoes from you.
That is crazy. And I mean, one of the lines in your book is ambition is your drug of choice.
Hmm.
And, I think you have the most interesting, amazing life. And I feel so grateful that you've shared that with all of us. And I was talking to my mom, who was also in the restaurant and bar business with my dad, and I was telling her, oh, I'm interviewing this guy, Kevin, and he opened 40 restaurants in 30 years. She's like, how is that even possible? Like for anybody who is in the industry, like that is unfathomable, and to keep those afloat. And I know 2020 with the pandemic was a huge shift for a lot of reasons, but like how does somebody do that?
Well, first of all, psychologically, you got to look at it. And I mistook manic moments for happy moments. And so when I opened up a restaurant, I was like, okay, more of this. And then after I crashed and came down from it, I was like, well, I guess I got to put something else on the horizon
Hmm.
to open. Why does, and actually, I think since I wrote that, I think we're at 50 now that I've opened in the last 30 years, but
You're
it's
still going?
still going. Boca Restaurant Group is a lot bigger than me these days, and there's a lot of employees and a lot of people who built their lives around it. And so It's still going, no matter what my ambition level is at this point. I'm
Sure.
still CEO of a company that's a, living, breathing thing with ambitious people in it, even if
Mhm.
I'm not as ambitious anymore. And so, yeah, I was always thought that happiness was behind door number three.
Mm.
And so
Mhm.
it was like, no, 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 no. Okay, I'm depressed now, but maybe it's because I'm in the Florida Panhandle.
Right.
And then I was like, maybe it's because this town's not big enough. And then it was like, maybe it's because I'm in Lincoln Park of Chicago. What if we went downtown and played with the big boys? It just kept, I just kept convincing myself that the next one
Mhm.
was where happiness was. And so, I thought happiness was a blueprint.
Mhm.
And I had kind of written that blueprint up early on. And I was like, yeah, if I drive this and my family looks like this
Mhm.
and I have this many of these and the low-hanging fruit,
Mhm.
doing therapy,
Mhm.
getting medicated, you know, stopping drinking, all these things that were really going to lead to me living a more stable and happy life,
Mhm.
that, those weren't the right choices.
Right. Right.
Those were too easy.
Absolutely.
So I kind of did everything else around those things.
Mhm. And that's so true for so many people. It's like, if I just get to here, if I
Mhm.
accomplish this,
Yeah.
it's like the adrenaline junkie who's constantly seeking more. And that's why I love the title of your book, The Bottomless Cup.
Yeah.
I'm in recovery and I have a long family history of sober people in my life, in my family of origin. And it's like one is too many. And, you know, I mean, and this is a drinking saying, but it's like you can't fill the hole,
Yeah.
right? And so
Sure.
like constantly switching locations or thinking if I achieve this, this will bring happiness.
Well, I treated life like, 90% of happiness was out here and 10% was in here. And it was actually the opposite. And so it's all these external things. None of them mattered. And until I got myself right. And I said the biggest overarching theme of the book is that, rock bottom's a gift if you survive it.
Mm,
And most people don't survive it.
yep.
There are so many people that die because of addiction or suicide,
Mm,
or they just slowly fade away and they die of unhappiness or a broken heart. And, I had this really critical moment in my life that I survived, and I was smart enough to look at it and say, okay,
mhm,
there's something really wrong with you. And if you don't make massive changes right here,
mhm,
you're not going to live anymore. So what's your choice? And so I sat down and, I wrote a list of things, in this hotel room in Los Angeles in 2021 that I needed to do to survive moving forward.
mhm.
And it was a bunch of shit on that list. It was really hard to do.
Oh my God.
And fortunately, I can look back at that list and be proud of myself. People my whole life have been like, I can't believe you dropped out of college and got in your Jeep and drove to Florida. How courageous. There was nothing courageous about that. I was 19 years old. I was so freaking excited to get in that Jeep and leave the life that I was in. There wasn't any courage there. Courage is when you're scared and you still do it. The most courage in my life was in 2021 when I looked at this list of things, a lot of really hard things to do that I knew probably were going to make my life worse before it made my life better. That was the most courageous moment of my life.
Well, and you kept running. Like your life and what you knew to be true completely changed at 18.
Yeah. Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, like the first line of the book after the forward is like in the summer of 1989, halfway through a Western omelet and a cup of coffee, I found out that I wasn't really Kevin Boehm. And, and I started to look at everything like, well, mom was my hero parent and she was telling me lies and keeping a secret from me. And that guy's not even my father. And holy shit, all these people put me in this position with this person. And like, this is really my father. And why did he choose not to raise me? And so you have all these thoughts. And, I say in the book, this is long before we use the word process,
Yeah.
but I was processing for a couple of years after that. And so I decided, you know what's the easiest thing to do? It was kind of like Peter Brady in the Brady Bunch when he tried to give himself a new personality. I was like, I'm gonna create somebody
Yeah. Hmm.
who I'd like to be, not this person. And that person's gonna be a lot easier to love. And here's who it's gonna be. It's gonna be this like affable, gregarious, friendly neighborhood restaurateur who opens up these great restaurants and I slowly, messed with the sketch over the years and kind of built this fun little avatar up that worked till it didn't. And the restaurant business did save my life, and then it almost killed me. And so it's a little like chemotherapy, right? They give you just enough not to kill you, but it kills everything else.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I lived my life for a while. Was it's like, okay, I need this to survive, but if I take too much of it, it's going to kill me. And that's kind of how I lived for a while, 90 miles an hour with my hair on fire. And so fortunately, I've found the balance. I
Well,
live
in
a much quieter life.
2021 wasn't that long ago.
It wasn't. It
I
wasn't.
mean,
It's
when you
four and a
kind of,
half, 4.5 years ago was that moment. And so the last 4.5 years, I've lived a completely different life. And I like it a whole lot more.
are you sober?
I am.
What does your daily practice of taking care of your mental health look like?
So it's a mixture of a lot of things. And every year instead of New Year's resolutions, I write down the rules for the year. And I have this practice of saying I'm an evolving human
Hmm.
and I can't just keep the same rules all the time. So one of them is I'm in a gym at least 6 days a week. Uh,
Non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable.
Yeah.
I screwed this up recently because I got sick and I was traveling. I didn't work out for 10 days and it really affected me. I actually had a really bad panic attack and like nowhere to put my energy and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So
Yeah.
the gym is a major, major thing and BIAN certainly helps with that. And I don't live far from there. Um,
Can you tell
trans
listeners what Bian is?
Yeah, it's a 40,000 square foot wellness private club that's kind of like Mayo Clinic meets Soho House meets a gym and a spa. And
Amazing.
so, but there's, 20 classes here a day, and you can do everything from live sound meditation to therapy to we have 7 doctors on staff, full medical clinic, blood lab in house. And so I try to take full advantage of that.
Yeah.
Transcendental meditation, 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes at night. I fell off of it and I'm just getting back into it. I did it last night with my girlfriend, actually. She actually brought it up. She's like, we should do it right now. Um, uh, and I don't like crowds as much as I used to, so I do it. I do it in spurts,
Hmm.
but not too much. I need time by myself to relax and be on my own. Therapy once a week with my amazing therapist. Um, and so I think those are the major things. But then I have little things in between. Like I write every morning as a practice. That's kind of almost also a meditation.
Hmm.
Um, and I really, really want to be a writer. People keep asking me, "What do you want the book to?"
You are a writer. Stop it.
Yeah. So people are like, "What do you want the book to do?" I go, "I want the book to sell exactly as many copies as it allows me to write another book."
Yeah.
So I'm writing a second book right now,
Oh my
and
gosh. I mean, and you have been so busy with book tour. I'm walking around neighborhoods in Chicago and stopping in bookstores because that will never go away for me. There's
yes,
nothing like holding a book. It is so up close and personal. And
I
I
agree.
see it on shelves and you're all over the internet and it is it having done my own form of a book tour, it's exhausting. And you also get this like amazing opportunity to see people from your past that you haven't seen. For me, it was like 30 years, it was
I
incredible.
have. It's wild to get other perspectives.
Mhm.
I say in the book, everybody should write their own life story.
Yes, I
Part
believe
of
that.
writing that life story was fact checking with people who I went through these experiences with and saying, "Would you read these 2 pages and tell me if I got it right or not?"
Uh-huh.
And I was really concerned with the truth. And, my sister helped a lot, because she was there. And there were moments she was like, nah, you forgot about this, or that's not exactly right.
Hmm.
So it's interesting what memory does to you
Yeah.
and how you put some coats of varnish on some stuff
Hmm.
and you maybe make others worse.
Yeah.
And so I came out with a better perspective. And then going on book tour after that, you know, my next door neighbor coming up to me and being like, Larry wasn't your father? And then,
My God.
and then her telling me, who was your father? And me telling her she hadn't read the book yet. And she goes, I worked with his son for 20
Oh
years.
my gosh.
And
The
I've
full circle.
the full circle. So my half brother, so like it's crazy. It's really the whole thing's been crazy, but enlightening. And it's kind of amazing at 55 years old to find stuff out about yourself that you didn't know.
Yeah.
There's something childlike about it,
Hmm.
that you're still learning about yourself and still learning about things that happen in your life. And, I talk about in the book in 2020 when my mom was dying, her
Hmm.
last chemo session that I had with her, she told me bits and pieces of myself that I never knew. I never knew that I went to Woody's house every day for 3 years until I started talking about it in my house. My mom's like, I can't take him over there anymore. And I was like, I mean,
And you look so much like Woody.
I know.
I mean, that's crazy. And so for people who haven't read the book, and part of the podcast is to draw attention to newly published books and people who are making changes and how people can make change in their own life, you know, I mean, you find out that Woody is your biological dad
Yeah.
before you go to college.
Yes.
And
A couple days before I go to college.
the insanity of that. But then you don't bring that up to your mom until you're 30 years old. So here you're like holding on to that and like trying to make sense of it. And it seemed in the book that it was just like a blip, right? Like you brought it up in the heat of the moment. You let her know you knew.
Very immaturely was in a fight with my mom. And I was like, well, oh yeah. She was mad at me about something, rightly mad at me about something. And I, almost like I was a little kid. I was like, well, oh yeah, thanks for telling me who my father was.
Mhm.
Oh, and just it was like I opened up the floodgates of all this emotion of her for all these years. And she had one of those ugly cries in front of me, and I instantly regretted it. But
It never
sometimes
comes out perfect,
never comes out the way you want it to.
right?
So sorry, mom. That was bullshit, but
And your story is so much about forgiveness. And I mean, you lost Larry, you lost your mom, and
I
you
lost
lost
Woody.
Woody.
Yeah, successive order. 05, 2020, and 2024. Yeah. And like, yeah, I never had a hard time forgiving my mom. I understood my mom's story and I understood who she was. It's hard to get over when when someone doesn't like you. And
Mhm.
I got those first cues from Larry, and they're cruel to you. That's a hard forgive, man. When, Sylvester Stallone was just on uh, CBS Saturday Morning with Gayle King, and
Mhm.
he described it as, he goes, when you're young, you're made of clay,
Mhm.
and if somebody drops you off a table,
Mhm.
it dents you. You're dented for life. And he was still crying about his parents not going to the Oscars in 1976,
Oh my gosh.
and still upset about it. He goes, I'm still dented from it. And so the Larry thing continues. It's never going to be fully right.
Mhm.
Um, I can, it doesn't matter how much ayahuasca and bufo and therapy I do.
You did it all.
But I had peace with it for the most part. And I did forgive him. And I think that's where I felt the best was when I did get to a point at the
Mhm.
end where I was just like, I get it. You were so over your skis with my mom. You know, you never thought you would marry somebody that like was as cool and interesting as my mom or as pretty as my
Yeah.
mom.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you tried to control her.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then, you know, the rest of his life, you know, he was sad about all that happened. And so he loved her. And when she died, he completely fell apart. You know, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
she was his whole life, but he always had this anger towards her.
Mm-hmm. Understandably so, maybe.
He was a
No.
hard man. He was a hard man to love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he didn't have any friends. He was a man who went his whole life, you know, his children. He was estranged from my sister for a long time too.
Mm-hmm.
So he had difficult relationships with his kids. He had no friends. And my mom was his one companion his whole life. And, you
Mm-hmm.
know, they bickered like
Yeah. And they remained married.
they remained married and bickered like enemies till the very end.
Mm-hmm. And Kevin, you have three beautiful children. And
Thank you. I do.
how do they make sense of your story, or how do you educate them about mental health, substance abuse, your own coming into this world? Like, I think it's so vulnerable of you to, I mean, it's a tell-all, right? You lay it all out on the table. Have they read it? Have you talked to them about it? I mean, I know they're all
Yeah.
different ages.
Yeah. I
That's
talked to him
big.
about it and I talked to him all about it in different ways. We have a very open family and very open conversations with them. And so, yeah, they understood it. You know, when I went to the Hoffman Institute, you know, I was like, hey, let me sit down and explain to you where I'm going and why I'm going there. But it took a little while. You know, when they're very young, you know, when you're still like the hero parent, you want to
Mhm.
remain that. You don't want to be
Yeah.
too vulnerable. But there came a certain point where I remember I told Sophia first, and Sophia was maybe 11 or 12 years old, was the first time that she found out that Larry wasn't my real father.
Oh my gosh.
And then, you know, Luca, you know, a few years later, heard me in the pool. Somebody asked about my father, and I was like, yeah, my father was a professional boxer, did this. And he like came up to me, he was like, Papa Larry was a boxer? I was like, God, no. I was like, kid, let me tell you a story. So there's been a slow bleed about it, you
Okay.
know, with the kids over time. But now, yeah, I mean, obviously I wrote a book about it, so I had to sit down and say,
Yeah.
hey, I'm writing a book and it's really honest book, and here's what's in there. And so
Hmm. Does anybody want to follow in your footsteps in terms of a professional life?
right now, this second, and you know, this is an evolving thing.
Yeah.
Lucas says he wants to become a chef, and my daughter's about to graduate from Pepperdine, and she's going to work for the company for a year. She's going to just do an internship where she does 12 jobs in 12 months and just kind of try it on for size.
Oh, I love that.
But Lola is pretty firm that she wants to be a politician and that she is going to go to law school and, you know, maybe start out in the lobbyist world, but wants to run for office.
Some ambitious children you created. It's kind of in their
We'll
blood,
see.
huh?
We'll see. I've always told them, I was like, man, please do not make any choices in your life out of fear disguised as practicality,
Hmm.
or because you think that it gives you gravitas
Hmm.
with other people. Um, don't do that. Figure out what you really want to do, what you can sink your teeth into.
Hmm.
And, you know, if money is important to you, and it's like, yeah, important to everybody at a certain level, you
Sure.
know. I was like, if you're incredible, I don't care what you do,
Hmm.
you can make enough money to live a nice life, but don't let that be your driver. And so, yeah.
They have a job with you though, if they so choose.
If they listen, if they want to do it, but I made a deal with my daughter. I said, you can come work for me for a year, but you have to go and work for somebody else for at least a few years after that.
Sure.
I go because you have to go and work somewhere on your own
Mm-hmm.
just to know for you that
Yeah.
you're getting rewarded because of you.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell everybody in my company treat her the same as you treat everybody else, but
Yeah. Well, and with Boca Restaurant Group, I mean, it's so large. When I think I worked in my parents' bar, to put myself through college. So it's
sure.
like, I think there are a lot more opportunities maybe with a restaurant group and a corporation than like
There is, you
most.
still have to fly. It's still a meritocracy. So I guess I should clarify that like
Yeah.
it either works or it doesn't. So you send them in there and you work, but like I just want them to go work for somebody else just to feel that uncomfortability.
Oh, yeah.
Because there is some comfortability that you walk in, working for your parents to a point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so if she then goes and kills it going to work for somebody else and still wants to come back,
Yeah.
great. I'd love it. Make me super happy.
Oh my gosh. So what else for you in this life? I mean, I read your book from a cinematography viewpoint. It's got to be a movie. I do believe you have some hopes and dreams about that, perhaps.
I've had some, I've had a couple calls
Okay.
about it. Very early on, I was like, I'm not ready to think about that part of it. Let's see what the book
Okay.
becomes and is
Hmm.
first.
Hmm.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you never know with these things,
Sure.
especially in that business. That business is bonkers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I do understand that everything in life is process. So maybe that just having the conversations is the only reason, the entertainment value of having the conversations, but nothing
Sure.
ever becomes of it. So I don't tie myself to the end result of things as much as I used to, but
Mm.
if I have a couple conversations about it, who knows? The only thing I would want is that someone was true to the book and that they
Yes.
didn't create things to be more cinematic. Like, hey, let's give Kevin a heroin addiction because that'll make better TV.
Totally.
Then and
Which
then
happens. Yeah.
everybody thinks it does happen.
Yeah.
And I think that everybody involved in Moneyball. I think Billy Bean will tell you that Art Howe wasn't as much of an asshole as they made the Philip Seymour Hoffman character out to be in that
Yeah.
movie.
Right. Right.
And so things have to be exaggerated a bit sometimes. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't want that. So it doesn't mean enough to me
Yeah.
to bastardize the book to
Hmm.
make it more cinematic. But if somebody
Yeah.
wants to be true to the story and it
Yeah.
came out that way, that would
Yeah.
I'd be cool with that.
Hey, there's not a whole lot of rewiring that would need to happen in those pages to make it a
Well, thanks. I
phenomenal.
think there's enough cinematic stuff there, and like
Totally.
Woody had great hair,
Uh-huh.
much in the way that the old Jeff Bridges did. Like Jeff Bridges and Sam Elliott would make great Woodies. I tell you
Oh
what, they're
my
both there.
gosh.
He was very close to that. His personality was like a lot like Robert Duvall was in The Apostle. If you ever watched that, he spoke like this. He spoke like a preacher all the time.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so there's so much there with Woody.
He's a character.
He was a character
Yeah.
for sure.
So last question. What's your
Yes.
spirituality like?
Um, that's a great question. I am a student of spirituality. I'll start there.
Mhm.
That I really enjoy Buddhism. And I've studied Christianity for a lot of my life. Larry was actually in the ministry, very early on. And I taught Sunday school as a kid. You know, um, and then, I've met with mediums before.
Mhm.
And so I definitely 100% have faith that something happens to us after this life
Mhm.
and then our spirits go somewhere and there's a lot of energy that we don't understand and I'm still trying to figure it all out.
Mm.
But it's a worthy pursuit and
Mhm.
he's part of my rules this year to keep studying that.
Yeah.
um, but I have a belief in my heart that living a good life and peeling the onion in this life
Hmm.
is a really worthy pursuit, and it will pay you back on the other side.
Well, and you certainly have had a strong sense of faith, whatever that faith looks like, something bigger than yourself. I mean, that was really apparent through the
Yeah.
pages too. And you are a phenomenal writer and
Thank
a
you.
great storyteller, and your word choice. I'm like had to pull out the dictionary for a couple of those.
Thank you.
So it was such a gift for me in my timeline of what has transpired for me in the last month.
I'm so sorry about your father, but
Thank you.
I'm really happy for you that you had a moment with
Mhm.
him and moments with him afterwards.
Yeah.
And, like I didn't get a moment with Woody, but I
Hmm.
got moments with Larry.
Yeah.
And that was a gift for him and for me. And it was a gift for you.
Thanks. I do believe that. It was a very beautiful goodbye for a very complicated relationship.
Yeah. And people, we're all complicated,
Yeah.
Um, and we're all not all good or all bad. And,
Yeah,
you start to
absolutely.
figure it out. And, the second life that I'm in right now, um, you know, I'm, I'm trying to figure myself out too,
Yeah.
be a better version.
Hmm. And I hope that's true till the day we die.
Hmm.
But there has to be an active practice and a willingness to do so.
I write something every day now, which is, um, what did I learn today?
Hmm.
What good happened? What bad happened? Did I have service to others in some way? And was today a win or a loss?
Ooh.
And so at the end of it, what I've learned from it is because there's intentionality about the service to others piece, that I
Hmm.
don't want to go too many days without having something that I actually did for somebody.
Yeah.
And two, if you string a couple losses together in a row,
Yeah.
you really look at what's happening.
Sure. But how do you measure that win or loss?
I'll
That's
tell you,
uh-huh.
did I learn anything today? Did I somehow move the ball forward in my own life? And did I do something for someone else that made life better? And there are days when you didn't do anything for
Yeah.
anybody, you kind of fucked it up a little bit.
Hmm.
And I've had some losses.
So
I've
you
had
have a
today.
prescription card, so to speak, that
I
you try to
do.
follow on a daily basis. Yeah.
I do. And
Okay.
so my goal this year is to go like, I know I'm gonna have some losses. This is
Uh-huh.
kind of the Buddhist, bad things happen, but I'm prepared for them when they do.
Yeah.
But not to have m- any days in a row that are losses.
Hmm.
And finish the year like 320 and 45.
Oh my gosh.
you
And you
know
can constantly course correct, right? Like concrete evidence that you are trying to follow and you can measure it.
I'm gonna leather bound the books, and I'm gonna put my win-loss record on the spine. I have a little bookshelf that I'm gonna do, and it's gonna be my leather bound win-loss journals.
Oh my gosh. Can you tell us what the next book is about?
Yeah. It's funny. I was writing a couple of different things at the same time, trying to find it. So I
Mhm.
was writing something that was fiction. I was writing something that was nonfiction. I think I've found it. The second book is basically like a sequel to The Bottomless Cup, but it's about um, building a second life and all that goes along with that.
Mhm.
Um, and chapter one is, am I sure I'm not an asshole?
Oh my gosh.
And so it sort of starts with like looking at, you know, who you are with a really critical eye
Mhm.
and who you want to be and where you think you're falling short. And every chapter I'm doing something significant as kind of pulling a lever in life
Mhm.
and seeing what happens if I do this.
Wow. To be continued.
To be continued. So I'm still trying to find it, but the beginning of the book, I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Well, I think I said I was going to ask you your last question 10 minutes ago, but wow, I'm getting a little emotional just because I feel like everything in my life is so serendipitous. And being with you here this morning is certainly that too, and related to so much of your story. Um, the good, the bad, the in between, the hustle, the all of it. So,
Yeah. I would say to everybody out there, how many things in life did you think were awesome that ended up being horrible? And how many things in life that you thought were horrible ended up being awesome?
gosh, that's a good question.
There's a moment in the movie Charlie Wilson's War where Philip Seymour Hoffman and Tom Hanks are talking, and Philip Seymour Hoffman says, "Little boy in the village gets a horse on his birthday,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole town goes, 'How wonderful!'" And the Zen master says, "We'll see." And then the little boy falls off the horse and he breaks his leg,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole town goes, "How terrible!" Zen master says, "We'll see." But then the town has to go to war, but the
Mm-hmm.
little boy doesn't have to go fight because he's got a broken leg. And the village says, "How wonderful." And then Zen Master says, "We'll see." We don't know.
Yeah.
We're constantly giving labels of things in life of this is so wonderful and this is so horrible. And we just got to, we don't know.
Yeah.
And we just got to live through them.
Yeah.
And it's an infinite game. All you got to concentrate on is like, how do I make life and myself a little bit better every single day? So that's how I'm living.
And it's so simple and we make it so complicated sometimes.
We do. We do. Yeah.
Your book will be a link in the show notes for people to purchase. I know you're still on tour and
Thank you. I am.
people can find that. And certainly there is a long list of restaurants in the Boka restaurant group that people can patron if they so wish to do
Yes.
so. And fantastic food. Um,
Thank you.
yeah.
I'll be
And
on the Today Show January 27th if anybody wants to tune in.
good, I'll put that in there too. Oh, that's awesome. As much as you can get the word out there about mental health and wellness is so important too. So I
100%.
appreciate that. And for everybody listening, just a friendly reminder to be the change you wish to see in the world, in your community, and your family. Have a great day.